Distinguished members of the Academy, my name is Golfhouse, and we are back on the Mostly Harmless SMP server. When last we spoke, we built out some waterfront property. Since we last spoke, I haven't really been doing that much. I've just been kind of walking around on the server, exploring where the border is taking us, and not really doing a whole lot of very productive stuff. But I think it's time. So, one of the things that we talked about in a previous episode is that we needed to work on our slime farm. Now, somebody's gone and at least made this a little bit more accessible down here, and it sounds like it's going to get really loud. Oh, yeah, look at this. Let's get our F1 back up, take care of you and you. So we needed to go ahead and automate all of this so that we don't have to do this all day. This is going to end up being a lot of slime. Let me go ahead and knock this out, and then we'll continue. Okay, so as I was saying before the slimes interrupted us and we had to go pick up almost a stack of their slime balls, it's time to get to work on the rest of our slime farm. Now this is going to require us to do a couple of things. For one thing, we're going to have to come around the perimeter on all of our levels, and we're up to 5 levels now in this slime farm, and we need to do this. So we need to go back 3 levels so that the biggest of the slimes, when they jump around, can actually get back here. And we have to go all the way around with it, and we're going to have to go all the way down with it. So this is going to be a tremendous mining effort. It's going to take me a whole bunch of time. You can see I'm loaded for bear on pickaxes, and yeah, this is going to be not the most interesting thing I've ever done. I've also gone ahead and carved out where our waiting platform is going to be. So this is about 20 blocks out from the slime farm, on the 3rd of the 5 levels. So it's pretty much right in the middle vertically, pretty much in the middle horizontally, if I can get the words out. And then it goes back far enough that all of our platforms out here will then be spawnable. As you can hear, it sounds like we're going to have a bit of a cave problem at some point, because what I want to be able to do is, from standing right about here, I want to be able to see all 5 of the platforms, so we can see them all in operation. That's part of why we have the lighting in there, also to keep other mobs from spawning. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, because in order to see all of that, all of this, and all of this, all of that, all of that, it's gotta go. So we have a whole lot of digging ahead of us. I don't know if I'm going to be getting to this part today. This might end up being in another episode, but I definitely want to get all of this carving out of the way. So let me go ahead and get started on that, and I'll bring you back in when my frustration levels have gotten the best of me. To give you some kind of an idea as to the task that is before me, I've already gone through 2 of my pickaxes. This is how far we've gotten. I'm on the 1st level. Yeah. I feel a little bit bad about having all of this stuff lying here because it's going to despawn. I'm not going to have the inventory space for it. And I feel bad about wasting that stuff. But the truth of the matter is, if you look in our chests right now, we have got enough cobble to last us forever. Um, at some point we probably need to do some kind of a community project where we just all throw our cobble into one place and it's there if we need it. But yeah, as much as it bothers the hoarding side of me to not pick that up, the truth of the matter is we've got plenty. Okay, everybody, it's taken an incredibly long time to do, but I have finally gotten it done. At least the first level, which means I just need to do all of that 4 more times. So I guess I'm not really that close to done at all. You can also hear that I've got some friends down there. I've just been letting them despawn, which is a little weird. Usually as soon as I hear the disgruntled noises of slimes, I go chase after them, but it sounds like we're not going to have a problem with that once this slime farm is done, so I've just been kind of letting them do their thing, and I'm just going to keep digging. Okay, guys, this has taken forever, but I've finally made it all the way to the bottom. As you can see, I've had some visits from some friends. This has actually turned out to be a pretty good little XP gathering experience. I'm at level 31 now. I've made it up to 33, 34 a couple of times actually, and I've gone down and enchanted some books just to keep from wasting my experience, to a casual death or something. And as you can see, this is working out well. I almost want to just leave it as it is and turn it into a little XP farm, but that's not the purpose here. The purpose here is slime balls, fast and easy. So the next thing that I need to do, I think, is to go ahead and pretty up these walls. They're not looking that great. Seriously? Let me go take care of these guys. Okay, so I kind of had to give up on doing this from the ground level because there's just too many of those guys floating down there. If we come over here to where our vantage point will be eventually, if you think about being right about here and having all of this cleared out so that you can see to the end there, I kind of want this wall, that wall, and that wall to look kind of nice. Now I did something down here just to fill in some gaps. I put in some of the polished, whatchamacallit, polished diorite. I still haven't figured out the difference between those three. But I don't think I like that for the entire build. So what I've done, I'm not sure what this is doing here, I have gone ahead and crafted up, well, not crafted up, I've grown a bunch of trees and then chopped them down, so I've got a whole bunch of wood, and I'm going to make a little pattern out of the walls here. I will probably use those kind of down in the trenches. I don't know how much of that you'll be able to see from the vantage point once we get all the rock cleared out, but I would rather have it look nice and not really see it than have it look like garbage and then have it end up that you can see it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and as you can see by the size of this wall, I guess I'll talk to you guys again in a couple of months. Okay, so I've got the trench mostly laid out. I'm not worrying about that side because all of that stone's going to be going away eventually. And over here, I've started on the design that I want for the walls. And it's nothing extravagant, nothing real flashy. I'm basically just going to make like a little cross symbol there, and we'll fill that in, and then we'll have another line there, and then we'll just kind of repeat the pattern kind of diagonally up the side or something. I haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to do there, but then we just come down here and then we lather, rinse, repeat. So this is what I'm going to be doing for probably the rest of my day. As you can see, I've been continuing to kill slimes. I've got so many slime balls now, I don't know what to do with them. It's crazy. We were really struggling for slime balls before, and now we have so many of them that I'm just leaving them there to despawn because I need that inventory space for all of these stupid pickaxes because I'm too cheap to make diamond ones and use that on this project. So I'm going to go ahead and go around, no, not that side, but go around here and around here, around here. I'm going to uh, get that stuff out of the way, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I've made it around the three sides here. I made a little bit of a change to our pattern. I added another row in between our plus signs, and I wasn't really sure what I was going to do when I hit the corners, but finally I just kind of decided to bring it around. It worked out over here, not so much. You know, we have the beginnings of another one there, but and then of course all of this is going to be going away. But now I'm running into a little bit of a problem. I don't think I'm going to have enough wood to get all the way up there. Now I had gone on a tree growing frenzy and accumulated a whole bunch of birch and spruce planks because this was kind of the design that I was intending to do, or something similar to this, pretty much from the beginning. And I don't know what I've done with that wood. I had it in a chest out by where I was growing the trees, and either somebody else on the server thought they were public and took them, which is certainly possible because I did a really poor job of labeling it, by which I mean I didn't. Or maybe I relocated them somewhere else and then completely forgot where it was that I stashed them. But anyway, I'm going to have to probably grow quite a few more trees in order to get all the way up. This particular pattern is 5 blocks wide, so I've got one, two, I'm not going to be able to count this now, am I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 2 more rows and then part of a third. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do up there. Maybe I'll repeat this pattern with the white stuff up there to kind of flesh that out and reduce my need for more trees. But yeah, it's starting to come together. So let me go ahead and get the rest of this thing looking nice, and hopefully I'll have something to brag about here soon. Okay, so from our vantage point right now, the wall doesn't look that impressive. But once we get all of this cleared out and you can see all of this, I think it'll actually look pretty good. We've gone ahead and replicated the diorite at the top just because we had 3 spaces up there and didn't really have a whole lot of wood to carve out another section there. But I think it's looking nice. The effect of wrapping the plus signs around the corners actually works out pretty well once you have it in a in a large scale. So I think that's going to work out pretty good for us. So our next step is going to be to get the automation down at the bottom all set up. And the way that we want to do that, we want to use water streams to draw these slimes once they've landed. Starting at this corner, we're going to go around that way and over there, and then down here and over there. Our ultimate goal is going to be to funnel them into this corner. And right about where that cobble is, I'm going to build out a drowning trap. Now, because this requires a fundamental knowledge of mob mechanics and building strategies, I've done what I always do in these situations. I look it up on YouTube. So I will make sure to place a link in the description to the person whose tutorial I watched for this. His name is like G-O-G, Joe-G-G, Joe, or something like that. It's pronounced in a way that North Carolinian like myself can't quite wrap their mouth around. But I'm going to go ahead and build that, and I'm going to figure out the best way to get all of the water flows to run right down into this corner, and once I have that done, I'll let you know how things are going. Okay, so I've been watching these tutorials over and over again, and I think I've got this thing figured out right. So what I've got over here is a dropper hooked up to some redstone contraption, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know how any of this works. But we've got these hoppers here that are plugged in. They ultimately work their way around to this dispenser. Is he somewhere? Okay, I'm going to have to deal with him later. But what happens is these items will fall into these hoppers. We're going to fill this section here up with water. That's what the signs are here for. And we've got a little message for them that we'll see them at the top. We'll get to that here in a second. But they're going to come through the signs, and eventually we're going to have these kind of water pathways that will lead them into the signs. They'll get trapped in here. They'll drown. Even the big ones will drown. They will eventually break down into the smaller ones. The smaller ones will break down into the slime balls. The slime balls will fall into the hoppers, and the hoppers will go to the dropper. When the dropper has stuff in it, it'll fire all of this off, which through some power of alchemy will then shoot the items into this water stream, which is also being assisted by some ice down here. So you see as we get to the end, the items will end up sliding on the ice until they catch up with this water stream. Now this water stream is going to do a couple of things. It's going to throw them around the corner, sling them up against this wall, and then it's going to push them into that fence post. Now that fence post has glass on it. The fence post behind it has glass on it as well. There's glass here, there's glass there, there's glass everywhere, and it goes straight up. And the way that this all ends up working, if we come over here and drop a stack of these guys, you can see them all shooting out, sliding across the ice. The render distance means that they disappear after a while. But if we come up here to our waiting area where we were going to do our AFKing, there they are. And I've run this test a couple of times now, and every single time I have had 0 losses. So we're going to let this run for a second, but I think what you'll find eventually is that all 64 of our slime balls make their way up this elevator. Now this is not an original design by me, obviously. This is kind of a standard design in Minecraft land. But if we go and pick it up, there we are, 64 slime balls. So I think this part is actually pretty much done. All I have to do is come over here. I'm going to hide this, you know what, I'm going to block this guy off because he's just going to get annoying if he sees me. We obviously want to protect the redstone, so we're going to put blocks there. How did you do that? I must have, oh, that's right, I've got my infinite water source over there. That's right, he was vicious, man. He just jumped over that block like it wasn't a thing. Man. Alright, well, some of these, there we go. Some of those will go ahead and shoot out, and we'll pick them up at the top. I'm also going to go ahead and block this off. Now I don't know how all of these contraptions are going to factor in when we start carving out the wall. Obviously there's parts to this that we will need to leave intact because we've got the signs up and everything else. We'll figure that out probably at a later date. So the next thing that I need to do is to go ahead and pop this torch. Did I get it? I don't know if I got it. Nope, I didn't get it. I just heard it roll away. So I'm going to have to be a little quick about this. I've got my water buckets here. I need to block this off. There's a certain order that you have to do this in, or else it doesn't work right. So let me go up here. Then we'll break this. Well, that didn't work at all. That's not what we want to have happen. We do not want this water coming out. And I think I know what the problem is. I think what I need to do, I'm going to put the lights up a little bit higher. I think I actually need to get the water going in first. Okay, this is going to take a little bit of dancing. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what I need to do to set this up correctly. I'm not going to make you watch me fumble around with this, but we'll be back in a second. So I figured that out. Turns out I was missing a row of signs down here. I went back and checked out the video, and of course there it was. It seems a little counterintuitive because that makes a little one high spot that the slimes can fall into, at least the small ones. The big ones obviously will be out here and they will drown, but then the one by ones, the little tiny guys, they can fall into these slots and they're okay. They're just going to chill out there. But the idea is that even if they do happen to end up there, and everything that I've seen in the last couple of guys that I've been able to push in through here is that they tend to fall into this section where the water is, and then they slowly try to work their way up. And as you can see, even though there's a little sliver of air, it's not enough to allow them to breathe. So that seems to be working well. I've got this guy lined up exactly the way that he's supposed to be, so that all of the guys just end up right in here where they belong, and we will see them at the top. Guys, I have great news. The automated slime farm is functional. There are a few operational gaps. Because of the shape of the thing, there is a small gap over here, right at the end, where a small slime or even a medium slime wouldn't get impacted by the water. But based on the slime mechanics as I understand them, that should not be too much of a problem because they'll just start jumping around and they'll end up in the water anyway. I have been coming over here and kind of posting up at the sort of receiving area, I guess you could call it. They're not coming super fast. You can see we don't have any right now, but remember, you only need one big slime. You know, if a large slime makes his way down into the water, when he works his way through, you're probably looking at, you know, anywhere from 8 to 12 slime balls out of that one guy. And right now we're doing a lot of running around, so a lot of these spawning platforms are ineligible because we're too close. That is the reason why we have the waiting area back here. And I'll have to put up some signs for the other server members if they haven't seen the video to kind of figure out what to do, that in order to sort of maximize things, they need to stand here. And then once the slime balls make their way up, they'll pick them up here. One of the things that I'm thinking of doing is putting a row of hoppers here so that any of the slime balls that pop up will fall into the hoppers and maybe move into a chest, because this area is in the spawn chunks, so the possibility of people from overhead triggering slime spawns is pretty high. So we want to make sure that we catch those as well, and we're not lagging the server with a bunch of entities here. So I'll probably do that in between this episode and the next one. I'll probably just slap a double chest over here. We'll see what the rate is that the slime balls come up, see how quickly that fills up. If it fills up too quickly, we can always put have a row of hoppers maybe leading to the chest over here, and excess slime balls can go into lava or something like that. We'll figure something out. But for now, I think we're just about done here. We do still have to do the observation deck over there where we carve out all of this. That is going to be for another day. It's not going to be for this episode, probably not for the next one, because I have spent way too much time underground. Look at this yard. Man, have I really been underground that long that my lawn has just completely gone to waste? What are the other neighbors going to think about this? I'm going to have to clean this up. This is unacceptable. I have to do something about this. The life of a mostly harmless server member. It never ends. So anyway, that was this episode. Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed me putting this slime farm together. I have no idea how long this episode is, but I'm sure that it's a long one. I appreciate you hanging with me through it all, and I hope you'll be around for the next one. If you liked this video, please click that like button. If you really liked it, please click the subscribe button. If you really like me, stalk me on social media. I'm darn near everywhere. And until next time, my name is Golfhouse. This has been Mostly Harmless. It's an honor just to be nominated.